Good evening and welcome to the Florida Weather Watch. My name is Daniel and thank you very much for joining in this evening on this special update about the Florida drought situation that is unfolding across the entire state of Florida. Today I will be looking at the current drought conditions that have developed across the state of Florida as we have had a pretty dry winter season across the state. And I'll be looking at will there be any relief coming up in the coming week or so from this drought as well. But before I continue this video, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button below. Hit that like button as well to show me that these forecasts and these updates are helpful. And also, please make sure that you leave comments down in the chat, please. If you have any questions about anything that I say in the videos, if you want further education or better understanding of drought and what's going on in Florida, please go ahead and leave comments down in the chat. I will respond to them as soon as I'm possibly able to. So again, please hit that subscribe button below. Please share this out with all your friends and family and your social networks, and please hit that like button below. Okay, so let's get into the current state of this drought in the state of Florida. And currently, this is what's called the Drought Monitor, the U.S. Drought Monitor. It's updated every Thursday based upon data from that week on Tuesday. And what this map tells us is where are the drought conditions setting up and what levels of drought are there. And you can see this color coding right here. Pretty easy to see where we have, where you see that we have the yellow colors here. Okay, you are going to notice that the yellow colors right here, let me go ahead and draw some arrows here. The yellow colors right here represent abnormally dry conditions. So this is the first level of drought, ladies and gentlemen. So the first level of drought is right here. This is where you are going to notice that maybe some brush fires will start increasing, and you're going to see that lawns may start drying out, but it's the lowest level of drought that is possible. And currently in the state of Florida, at least 92%, almost 93% of the entire state of Florida is experiencing abnormally dry conditions. The next step up from that is this light orange color. Okay, this light orange color, which covers much of the peninsula of the state of Florida right now. You can see all the way from Jacksonville into northern Florida, all the way down into even Collier County and the entire mainland Florida here of the peninsula. You are seeing these moderate drought conditions even developing over here near Destin and Pensacola. So what this shows us is that currently we are seeing moderate drought conditions, and a whopping 80.3% of the state of Florida is experiencing at least moderate drought conditions. And this is where we start getting into some more severe issues with water shortages. This is where you start to see trees and bushes begin browning here. And these are some of the effects here that you can notice when there's a moderate drought. So the biggest issue is, especially in the state of Florida, is here. Water supply starts decreasing in moderate drought because people are consuming water and it's not replenishing as quick as the people are consuming it because of these drought conditions. So this is where you will have to start considering, at this stage, this is where you have to start considering water conservation measures here. Because when you get to these levels here, this is where you start noticing that the water supply starts decreasing, and this is going to be pivotal for the future for the state of Florida as drought continues. Now, a small part of the state here is in Southwest Florida is experiencing an even higher level of drought, and that is called a severe drought. This is in this dark orange color, uh, and it covers about almost 4% of the state of Florida. And what you notice here is that this is where fields are starting to dry out. There's a large increase of wildfires, and fire danger is definitely high and elevated. So when you're in these areas of Southwest Florida here, getting into Lake Okeechobee, this is where you really need to be careful with setting any fires, because the ground is very dry. There is not really a lot of moisture to put out fires, and they could spread pretty quickly. And another issue is the air and water quality starts becoming poor in these areas as well here. This is a big concern right here, where the salinity of the water, which is how salty the water is, starts increasing. Because here in Florida, the problem is if the water table lowers, what you end up getting is the saltwater intrusion. So you start getting saltwater intrusion coming in to kind of fill the water table here. And when you get that happening, that is where you really start having issues with the quality of the water that you're drinking. So there could possibly be saltwater intrusion that starts happening in Southwest Florida as this drought continues to get worse. Now, the question that is being asked is, number one, what's been causing this? And number two, is there any possible relief ahead? So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and leave this view. The good news is so far, before I continue, is the good news is so far there is nobody that is in the very dire straits like parts of the West were until the recent atmospheric river events, where you really have extreme to exceptional drought, which really changes the quality of life in many areas and causes you to have to cut down on water consumption and everything else. But the good thing is there's nobody in those categories as of yet. Okay, so let's go ahead and let me try to explain a little bit about why we've been having this. And what really has been causing this is, and this is the water vapor loop, is this entire area across the Caribbean here. This entire area across the Caribbean has been bone dry. Like, it has not really seen any rainfall uh, at all in this area. And so what this has been causing to happen is this dry air, when we've had areas of high pressure setting up over the Atlantic here, when we've had areas of high pressure, let's say the high is right there, what's been happening is the flow around high pressure goes clockwise, ladies and gentlemen. So what happens is, as this goes clockwise, what's been happening to Florida is that this dry air has been funneling over the state of Florida. And as that dry air continues to happen and this cycles through, that's been causing much less rainfall, and the dry air really has been able to work in to Florida in recent weeks and even the past couple months. As you've noticed in the state of Florida, there's been barely any rainfall, especially in the southwestern region of Florida. So this pattern here has been what's been causing this to happen. But there are some slight changes coming up. As you can see right now, we do have a cold front that I've been talking about in my recent videos that is starting to move across. This is bringing some showers and thunderstorms to the state of Florida. And then what's happening is you're noticing that there's some moisture building across the interior part of the country. And then with this jet stream pattern that is developed, what's going to end up happening is this moisture in these systems will start dipping down, providing some more rainfall to the state of Florida. Not going to happen this week, but there's a lot of signals that this upcoming weekend and next week, there'll be a lot of changes to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the outlooks. So this is from the same website, drought.gov. Terrific source to go for everything related to drought. And you're going to notice here, these are the forecasts. First of all, this forecast shows you the amount of precipitation that is possible and predicted over the next several days, over the next 7 days. And you're going to notice right here, northern Florida, this probably includes all the showers and thunderstorms that have happened with the cold fronts, but northern Florida is going to be where there's going to be a lot more rainfall. You're going to see even some areas in the near Gainesville and everything here in these dark purples, possibly up to 2 inches of rain over the next 7 days. A little bit of extra rainfall happening over the central part of the state here, but where it needs it most in Southwest Florida, not really any relief to speak of. Maybe an inch of rain, maybe an inch and a quarter rain here. There's not really much relief here in South Florida, as many of these cold fronts will start dying off. But in the long term, in the 6 to 10 day outlook right here, the 6 to 10 day outlook, there is a higher chance than normal, about 50 to 60% chance of above normal precipitation occurring over the southern half of the Florida Peninsula. So beyond 7 days, there will be another cold front that will come through and a storm system that will deep dive further south, according to the models, and produce some extra rainfall, some much needed rainfall for South Florida. And the last view I'm going to show you here is from the European forecast model out to 248 hours out. That is 10 days out. And it is showing some couple concentrations of above average rainfall. Daytona Beach, Orlando, this area, getting 2 to 2.5, maybe even 3 inches of rain. And then a bullseye right here in Southeast Florida, where Miami could get up to 3.5 inches of rain over the next 10 days. But still, that amount of rainfall is not going to really help to try to overcome this drought all that much. And that's why when we go further down here, you're going to notice that the outlook for Florida here, as you can see in the legend below, shows that drought will persist over northern Florida, and development will continue to be likely even further for the entire southern half of Florida, especially when there are going to be some very dry conditions happening over Florida, as dry air will take over this upcoming week. But the bottom line is that we are seeing a drought worsening over the state of Florida. There may be some slight relief coming in the next couple weeks, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to really turn the tide of this drought. So thank you very much for tuning in on this Florida Weather Watch update on the Florida drought situation. In a few weeks, I will go ahead and update this again. Please make sure that you leave questions and comments below. If you have any questions about drought, about why this is happening, or even forecast requests, I'll take those too. I hope you all have a marvelous rest of your Monday. I will be doing more frequent video updates throughout the week, and especially when we get into Friday, when we will be watching for our next cold front that could possibly bring some more rainfall than this previous front. And as I will always close out every video from my late great cross-country coach, Jim Richardson, there'll be weather or not. But whatever the weather will be, I'll be there to keep you safe, to keep you informed, and to be ahead of the weather. Have a marvelous Monday. Enjoy the rest of your week. I will see you again soon.